Hello everyone, I'm Avita Katil and I'm working as assistant professor in Department of Virtualization, and today I would be covering the topic from the subject Computer System Architecture titled Hardwired versus Microprogrammed Control Unit. The contents for this lecture will cover introduction to what control unit is, what are the functions of control unit, what are the different types of control unit we have, and we will try to differentiate between the two types of control unit, and finally the conclusion. When we talk of central processing unit, one of the most important component of our computer system, we know that this central processing unit also in turn is made of different components. And when we talk of these components, we know that we have arithmetic logic unit, which is used to perform the arithmetic and logical operations on the data items fetched from the memory. Also, we have clock, which is used to synchronize the various components of the computer system. We have registers. The job of the registers is to provide the temporary storage for the data coming from the memory, data or instructions coming from the memory. Registers are made of flip-flops, and they are the fastest storage in our computer system. Along with these three components, we have another component which is basically our control unit. Control unit is responsible for generating the control signals that in turn help us to to fetch the instructions from the memory, to decode them and to execute them. So control unit controls and directs the main memory. It directs the arithmetic logic unit, the input output devices, and is also responsible for the instructions that are sent to the CPU of a computer for execution. When we talk in detail about the functions of control unit, we know that it directs the flow of data sequence between the processor and other devices, because it is going to generate signals for that. It can interpret the instructions and controls the flow of data in the processor. It also generates the signals of sequence of control signals from the received instructions or commands from the instruction register. It has a responsibility to control the execution units such as arithmetic logic unit, the data buffers and registers in the CPU of a computer. It has the ability to fetch, decode and handle the execution and also store the results. However, it cannot process and store the data. It is just providing the signals, right? To transfer the data, it communicates with the input and output devices and controls all the units of the computer. In general, we can say that control unit is responsible for generating the sequence of control signals for executing all the instructions in your computer system. Moving ahead, when we talk of different type of control units, we know that generally there are two types. One is the hardwired control unit and the second one is called as microprogrammed control unit. When we talk about hardwired control unit, these are generated, or these are designed as a finite state machine, and they basically make use of decoders, combinational circuits, sequence counters for generation of the control signals. Since the control signals here are generated with the help of hardware components, so they are considered inflexible but are very fast, and they are generally suited for our simpler machines, that is reduced instruction set computer machines. Whereas in case of microprogrammed control units, the control sequence, or we can say the control signals, are generated with the help of a program, and the control path here is designed hierarchically using principles identical to the CPU design. Since it is the control signals here are generated using a using a program, so the programs can be changed as per the need, and hence they are considered much flexible but slow. These are appropriate, these are most suitable for complex instruction set computers. So this is just a general overview of the two types of control units we have. We will study in detail in the next slide how they actually work and how actually the working of these control units make them different from one another. So if we look at hardwired control unit, this is a very simple diagram to show how it actually works. Whatever the instructions are fetched from the main memory, whatever the instructions are fetched, we know that both instructions and data in our computer system is residing in main memory. So when the instructions are fetched from the main memory and they are brought into a register which is called as instruction register residing on your CPU chip, um, the binary data that is picked, the binary instruction that is picked, is basically sent to combinational logic circuits, and also with the help of another component, hardware component called a sequence counter. They work together to generate what are called as control signals for executing the instructions in our computer. We will look at a much more detailed diagram for this hardwired control unit to understand how actually it is working. Now if we see over here, it is quite clear that our hardwired control unit is making use of multiple components, hardware components. So we can see in the diagram that we are having the combinational circuits, we are having decoders, we are having the sequence counter also. So as I told you, your data as well as instructions are stored in main memory, right? So once the instruction to be executed is brought from the main memory to the CPU, there are temporary storage registers which help them to be stored there. So it goes into the memory, it goes into the register which is called as instruction register. As you know, in Morris Mano, we have taken a memory of size 4096 into 16. So 4096 into 16 is a standard example which we are following in our book Morris Mano edition 3. So when we are saying that the memory is of the size 4096, it actually means that the main memory is divided into so many rows, right? The main memory is divided into so many location or rows, just if we look it as a 2D matrix. And 4096 is basically 2 raised to power 12, right? So 2 raised to power 12 means that we would be having 12 address lines in such memory system, in 4096 into 16 memory system. At the same time, we know that each of the location of this memory is of 16 bits. So instruction, if it is a one word instruction and we are picking the instruction from the memory and we are bringing it to the IR register, definitely the instruction size would be of 16 bits, or we can say that one word instruction which is stored in your instruction register would be of 16 bits. That is why we can see here that the instruction register is having the size of 0 to 15, that is 16 bits. Also further, this instruction register bits, zeros and ones combinations are divided into certain subunits. From 0 to 11, we know that this is an address bus. This will represent the address of the memory from where the data is to be collected. 0 to 11 would be the set of address lines which will help us to know from where the data is to be picked inside the memory. Then 12, 13 and 14 bits are called as opcodes. Opcode is basically called as operational code. So if we are having 3 bits in our opcode, it means we would be having 2 raised to power 3, that is 8 different operations supported. So that is why these 3 bits are being passed to a 3:8 decoder, and 8 output lines are generated, 8 decoding signals are generated, that is D0 to D7, right? So opcode basically tells us that what are the different kind of operations which a particular computer can support. Here these 3 bits are sent to a decoder and decoding signals D0 to D7 are being generated. The last bit is called as the I bit, which is responsible for telling us the addressing mode. If this 15th bit is 0, then we have a direct addressing mode in our computer system, and if it is 1, we are having an indirect addressing mode. Direct addressing mode means that if this bit is 0, if this 15th bit is 0, then 0 to 11 bit are actually the effective address. Or we can say that if our 15th bit is 0, it means that if we go to the address indicated by these 0 to 11 bits in the main memory, we will get the actual data from there. Whereas if the 15th bit is 1, if the 15th bit is 1, it means that there is indirect addressing mode, and indirect addressing mode basically indicates that 0 to 11 is not the effective address. 0 to 11 bits are not indicating the effective address. First, we need to go to a memory location. We need to go to a memory location which is indicated by these 0 to 11 address lines. At that memory location, we will find the effective address, and that effective address would be holding the actual data item. So yes, this is stored in a flip-flop I and is sent to the combinational control logic. At the same time, we have a 4-bit sequence counter also, which is having certain lines like increment, clear and clock. Clock for synchronization, clear for bringing it to the original number, increment for incrementing it by 1. This 4-bit sequence counter is sending the input to a decoder. So there are 4 bits in sequence counter. So the decoder is of size 4 into 16. Right? It is of the size 4 into 16. Now this 4 into 16 size decoder will generate the timing signals. The timing signals from T0 to T15. So D0 and so our decoding signals D0 to D7 along with our timing signals from T0 to T15 are sent to combinational control logic, which then is responsible for generating the control signals that will help us to decode the instructions and to execute them also. So this is just an overview of how actually a hardwired control unit works. The basic difference which we can see is that it is making use of many of the hardware components, and thus since it is implemented directly in hardware, it would be much more faster. But yes, if we want to change the working or something, we need to bring change in the hardware components, so that would be much inflexible. Moving ahead, now we would be talking about microprogrammed control unit. So when we are talking about microprogrammed control unit, it becomes very much important to understand here that in case of hardwired, the control logic was implemented with the help of gates, flip-flops, decoders and other digital circuits. And it could be optimized to produce a fast mode of operation also. But if we want it to optimize further once it has been implemented, then it requires changes in the wiring among the various components if the design is to be modified or changed, right? But when we talk of microprogrammed control unit, here the control signals are being generated with the help of a program, right? With the help of a program which is called as a microprogram. And this microprogram is basically stored in a special type of memory which is called as control memory. Control memory is basically our ROM, that is our read-only memory, and it is quite different from the memory which is being shown over here. So yes, in computer system where we have microprogrammed control unit, we would be definitely having 2 different types of memories. One would be our RAM, that is our main memory where the data and the instructions are stored, and second one would be our control memory, which is our ROM, that is read-only memory, that is a part of our microprogrammed control unit. This control memory is basically responsible for storing the microprogram. Microprogram is what? Let's understand a little bit about these terminologies. So when we say control memory, definitely this control memory is responsible for storing the microprogram, and microprogram consists of micro instructions. Microprogram consists of micro instructions, and micro instructions are nothing but control words which are binary numbers, and they specify the control signals for the execution of micro operations. We need to understand this thing in a way like in hardwired control unit, we used to fetch an instruction from the main memory, and the hardwired control unit used to generate the signals corresponding to that instruction. So here, for an execution of an instruction, for example, add instruction is to be executed. For the execution of the add instruction, multiple micro operations are to be executed, and these micro operations are generated with the help of the microprogram which is present in the control memory, and that control memory is our read-only memory. So yes, these are certain terminologies which we need to understand. So we move on to the previous slide and try to understand now how it actually works. So yes, we pick up the instruction from the main memory and it goes into a register which is called as instruction register. So this instruction code over here is basically stored in our instruction register, that is a part of our CPU. That is part of our CPU unit. Now this instruction code is then sent to a component which is called as sequencer or next address generator. This next address generator component or sequencer is responsible for finding out which next micro instruction is to be executed from the control memory. Right, it will generate the address of the micro instruction which is to be fetched from the control memory, or which is to be executed corresponding to the instruction. For example, if we have an add instruction in our instruction code, now for executing that add instruction we have to execute multiple number of micro operations or micro instructions from our control memory. So which micro instruction or which micro operation is to be done, that is at a particular location, that would be stored at a particular location. So that location address is basically generated with the help of this next address generator or sequencer. Along with this next address generator or sequencer, we have two more registers over here, but these registers are a part of our microprogrammed control unit. So these registers are char and CDR. So char is basically control address register and CDR is control data register. Now we need to understand the difference between AR and DR and char and CDR. Now AR, we have studied AR as an address register in our CPU, right? A CPU is having a register which is called as address register. So you might have studied it in previous classes also, that whenever address register, the address register basically holds the address of the data item which is to be picked from the main memory. Where the data item is stored in the main memory, that information is in our address register. Similarly, what data you have picked from the main memory, this one, the main memory, that is basically stored in your DR, that is your data register, right? DR and AR. These two registers are basically associated with your instruction, right? But when we talk of char and CDR, they are control address register and control data registers. So they are basically associated with the micro instructions that are stored in your control memory. They are associated with the control memory operations. So where the micro instruction is stored in the control memory, that address would be in char. And once you have picked that micro instruction, that control word, that micro instruction from the control memory, it is stored in CDR, control data register. And finally, that that micro instruction picked up from the control memory, placed in CDR, the number, that zeros and ones combination, is sent to a decoding circuit which is finally responsible for generating the control signals that helps us to execute the main instruction. So a main instruction is executed with the help of multiple micro operations. The micro operations which can be executed with the help of micro instructions or micro programs stored in our control memory. So hence we have a program here in control memory, not completely a hardware unit that will be generating the control signals. Moving ahead. Then these slides are just telling us about the functionality of each of the component we have seen in the microprogrammed control unit. As I already discussed, control memory is read-only memory, and it is basically responsible for storing the microprogram, which in turns help us to execute micro instructions and micro operations for executing the main instruction. And our control address register is basically specifying us the address of the micro instruction, and CDR is basically storing the data which you have picked up from the control memory, that control word, that zeros and ones combination or the micro instruction is stored in your CDR. Now here it is to be noted that sometimes this CDR is also called as, this control data register is also called as pipeline register. Now why it is called as a pipeline register? Because it does two jobs at the same time. The first job it do is it basically helps us to generate the control signals for the execution of the instructions. Along with that, some of the bits which have been picked from the control memory and have been placed in CDR are used for finding out the address of the next instruction, next micro instruction. If we need to understand it in this way, that if the sequential execution of the program is taking place, if the sequential execution of the microprogram is taking place, then char will go on incrementing by 1 and 1. Like if it is at address 2, it will be going on to address 3 and executing next micro instruction, then address 4, and so on, right? But it is not necessary, it is not always necessary that most of the programs will execute in sequential order. Sometimes we jump to different locations also, right? Sometimes we jump from one function to another function also. So in that case, the address where the micro instruction would be present, that is to be generated. So some of the bits in your CDR, a whole micro instruction is being picked from the control memory and placed in CDR. So then some of the bits of the CDR would be responsible for telling that what would be the address of the next micro instruction. So that is why sometimes CDR is also called as pipeline register. But yes, we can perform the operations in the microprogrammed control unit without CDR also. We can directly pick the word from control memory, can send it to the decoder circuit for generating the control signals, and the rest of the bits can be sent to next address generator for finding the address of the next micro instruction. This was a working of microprogrammed control unit. So now overall, I would like to discuss in detail the difference between our hardwired control unit and microprogrammed control unit in detail. So if you look at the differences, it is quite clear that in hardwired control unit, the signals are being generated. The control signals are generated with the help of logic circuits, right? Whereas in microprogrammed control unit, we are generating the control signals with the help of a program or a set of micro instructions which are stored in control memory, right? The second difference, we see that since it is a hardwired control unit, so definitely it is going to be much more faster. It is going to be much more faster as compared to our microprogrammed control unit, which is making use of micro instructions or microprogram, right? Then the third difference is that if we want to modify, if we want to change the design, if we want to modify, then it would be difficult to do any kind of modification in hardwired control unit. Whereas since microprogrammed control unit is a program, yes, we can afford to change it much more easily as compared to our hardwired control unit. Hardwired control unit is costlier as everything has to be realized in terms of logic gates. Whereas microprogrammed control unit would be less costlier. Since we are using a program, and definitely hardwired control unit is we can say that it cannot handle complex instructions as the circuit design for it becomes complex. That is why I told you in the beginning, in the beginning slide, that it is generally used for reduced instruction set computers. It is used for reduced instruction set computers, because if we start making complex instructions, the hardware circuitry will also become very complex. Whereas in microprogrammed control unit, we can afford to use it for complex instruction set computers also. Then in case of hardwired control unit, the number of instructions used are limited, right, because of the hardware implementation which we have to do for them. Whereas in case of microprogrammed control unit, we can use as many as instructions. And the last difference, it is being repeated again, that it is used for reduced instruction set computers, whereas our microprogrammed control unit is used for complex instruction set computers. So I hope we have understood what is the difference between hardwired and microprogrammed control unit, and thus concluding, to execute an instruction, we have two types of control units, hardwired and microprogrammed. Hardwired control units are generally faster than microprogrammed control units, and in hardwired control unit, we actually saw how all the control signals required for executing instructions are generated using the hardware components, and a microprogrammed control unit is relatively simple, and it is capable of sequencing through the micro instructions and generating the control signals to execute each of the micro instructions stored in the control memory. So if we look at the references, all this content has been taken from your standard book, that is Maurice Mano, Pearson Publications Edition 3, Computer System Architecture, right? So this is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you all. Have a great day.